Well, I told you I'd be contacting you, Mr. Jesse Dollemore. It's 5:36 at night, West Coast time. It's still the 7th of December, 2026. That's right, 2026. I'm going forward in time. It's still the 20. It's still 2023, right? We're not back in. No, we're not. Okay. This is regarding the delusional Mike Johnson claims God spoke to him about being Moses, and everybody else and the independents are picking up on it, apparently. Every time I keep doing a Google search, I'm finding more and more of this hits. I'm not quite sure the mainstream media is picking up on it because they're more interested in other things that make more sense and not these minor things that the independents are picking up more and more on. It was bad enough when I saw the information about Kevin McCarthy and I was dancing a jig on that one. I was doing the caveman song. 1980s, Ringo Starr, or Richard Starkey actually, comedy film. They have a caveman theme in there. Check it out. Just do a Google search for the caveman song. Anyway, I was doing that in celebration until I heard about Las Vegas. And then today I heard about Texas. And I'm like, it's like, why do we even celebrate the holiday season at this point over here? And then to come across your particular item that Johnson is claiming that he's been spoken to by God. It reminds me a while ago when I was watching Our Power back in the 80s and 90s on this one, where Robert Harold Schuler, Reverend of the Crystal Cathedral Church, and he was talking about things that God would talk to him about, and he spoke to him, people like a preacher would. And those who followed it, and I did, evangelical. I mean, I was raised a Methodist, but I'm okay on evangelicals. I didn't have a problem. Was the pastors trying to display the messages that they are God's appointed? Because one, as a mortal, would assume such stuff. But when I'm hearing political figures trying to say that they have been touched by God, I am trying to get past the point that even God can use anybody, including drunks, down and out destitute, to get a message across to people one way or another, in one form or another. A message that we still need to hear and see and experience. This particular situation regarding Johnson trying to show that he's more holier than anybody else, and that God wants all these things happening that a lot of people are going to be freaking out about at this point. I'm like, okay, maybe this is an ego rush. I kept trying to figure out of the Almighty here. Why would he have such a closed-minded idiot? I mean, there's a hell of a lot of negative stuff we can say about this guy, and about the party, and about the Trumplicans at this point. But there's coming across a story in the name of Paul, I think, the Book of Paul. Is it? Give me a second. Google search even as we talk. Alrighty. Acts. Acts 9, verse 1 through 19. You want to start reading it? Or you got your. I'm going through Bible Gateway on this one. So I did a Google search, got me that one. Okay, so Saul's conversion. Starts off. Meanwhile, Saul was still breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. He went to the high priest and asked him for letters to the synagogues in Damascus so that if he found any there who belonged to the way, whether man or woman, he might take them as prisoners to Jerusalem. And as he neared Damascus on his journey, Suddenly a light from above, or actually from heaven, flashed all around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And who are you, Lord? He asked. Saul asked. I am Jesus who you're persecuting, he replied. Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. The men traveling with them stood there speechless because they didn't see anybody, but they heard the sound. Saul got up from the ground. Somewhat paraphrasing here. But when he opened his eyes, he could not see nothing. Basically, he got blinded by the light, literally. So they led him by the hand into Damascus, and for 3 days he was blind and did not eat or drink anything. Well, basically, your body's in shock at that point. And there was a disciple named Ananias. The Lord called to him in a vision. Ananias. Yes, Lord, he answered. The Lord told him, go to the house of Judas on Straight Street. Ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying. In the vision he has seen a man named Ananias come and place his hands on him to restore his sight. Lord, Ananias answered, I have heard many reports about this man and all the harm he's done to your holy people in Jerusalem. He has come here with authority from the chief priest to arrest all those who call on your name. The Lord said to Ananias, go, this man is my chosen instrument to proclaim my name to the Gentiles and their kings and to the people of Israel. I will show them how much he must suffer for my name. And Ananias went to the house and entered it. Placing his hands on Saul, he said, Brother Saul, the Lord Jesus, who appeared to you in the road as you were coming here, has sent me so that you may see again and be filled with the Holy Spirit. Immediately something like scales from Saul's eyes, and he could see again. He got up and was baptized. And after taking some food, he regained his strength. Now, there's more to it in the Acts regarding this. I know, what's the point? We kept seeing the actions, and we kept seeing how much that Trump and his followers are willing to go through a hell of a lot of corruption, a lot of grief. We keep expecting the most incorrupt people to lead and follow us. Even Moses was screwed up, but he still had a good heart. God keeps seeing that in some of us. Now, I'm not quite sure if there's any good heart in Johnson at this point, or anybody else that keeps following him as Trumplicans. I still have an issue over this one. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. But is God going to go appoint him as a Moses? And who is he trying to lead people out of? From what kind of bondage are we talking about here? The U.S. Constitution? Our laws that we have in our land? Of course, if we're talking about prejudice of all sorts, then why would he have this guy going to be pushing in more prejudice and more divisiveness and derision? And that's the thing I don't get. Now, if he was going to be turned into, from Saul into Paul, from one persecuting rat bastard, we call him that, into a champion, there's got to be some kind of change. There's got to be something happening at this guy. But if he's getting too damn oily, and we already know he's oily enough, he's really going to be doing the grifting and con man at this point. Now, Christ had told us in the earlier books, in the 4 books, beginning of the New Testament, to watch out for these kind of people. Unfortunately, if he knows his Bible, he will also probably use it. Much like the schmuck downstairs does that from time to time. Beguile us into the point where we're following the Bible, but maybe we're not. We have to hold truth to the belief and the faith that we have inside. We have to keep listening to that spark and that inner voice that we have. If we're going to be led astray on this one here, I've got my eyes wide open. Because I, like some of the other people, are still looking for that dagger ready to stab me in the back. And I ain't Caesar, by the way. I am looking for Brutus to stab me in the back just in case, if I am Caesar, one way or another. But in this situation here, we're talking about a guy who's going against religion all the time and persecuting because he is strictly religion in one particular form, but saying that Christ was wrong and he should be tossed out in his ass. Now, if we're looking at this particular point of view here, it seems like the conservatives are trying, or the Trumplicans at this point over here, are trying to force that viewpoint upon everybody else. What we have over 247 years of existence of our country here, why hasn't that we hadn't had any prophets coming down that pipeline telling us that we're wrong? Why does it happen to be this particular time, this particular century here? See, we don't have God's playbook on this one. We can't see and can't jump. We can only estimate, guess, try to feel some kind of instinct. Johnson's pulling a fast one on us. Trump's already tried to pull the fast one, and a lot of people believed his crap. You're going to be asking me about my own faith? If I'm ready to say shibboleth, we're going to end up pronunciations without my two front teeth. Shibboleth would be the password in the Bible, the New Testament, for Christ's followers. What is it's listed as? It is a custom, principle, or belief distinguishing a particular class or group of people, especially a long-standing one regarded as outmoded or no longer important. But it was also a password used. It was also a password used. Something of a way of identifying us from one faith to another, one person to another, who still follows the faith. And here's the thing concerning about it. I don't think Christ meant for it to be public. I mean, we try to identify ourselves as Christian publicly, yeah, with the markings and stuff like that. But I think it's the acts and the deeds that speak and shine more loudly instead of just mouthing it off like crazy. Because wasn't it said somewhere in the New Testament, somewhere in there, maybe it was sent in the 4 books, that man seeking reward in heaven is getting it down here on earth? I mean, I'm paraphrasing and screwing it up badly, but it's like, if we're going to be seeing the earthly rewards down here and we want more and more of it, maybe we are depleting the rewards upstairs. Maybe we are. I'm a man still struggling on his own faith, and I'm a man still struggling on his own life and everything else. I do my video channel that way because I am that way right now. There's a lot of things that are important to me now as I keep mourning more and more about them. Jess, let me be honest. When I do my channel, I do mourning and grieving a lot. I also talk about other things on my channel left to right. A diary of the griever named John Weaver. I have a lot of triggers. I have a lot of emotional triggers that put me through the edge like crazy. Now, if you've been seeing at least 1 or 2 of the videos I've done, you'll notice that I got a cabinet on my left. I'm always sitting in this position. This position was my brother's position when we both lived in this apartment. My brother was 8 years older than I am. He was the elder. He passed away in 2018. My mama back in 2013. Gets harder and harder every year. I may be getting closer and closer to the time of passing. But it gets harder and harder each year. I'm realizing how more and more important family is. Sometimes I kept thinking I was taking them for granted, but barely not. There have been a hell of a lot of good memories and a hell of a lot of good times and rotten times as well. The picture that you see above the family picture was the last Christmas my mother had. She's got a little dog and a Christmas tree in there. That was taken days before her passage. Actually, about a month's passage. She was able to enjoy Christmas with us, even though she was in a hospital bed at home. David and I did home hospice on her. Didn't even realize it. They're caregivers over the last several years of her life. Really. Over 25, 8. This holiday season is supposed to be a celebration of faith, but it's also a celebration of family. If I may put this out as well, Jess. What is Christmas to you? What does it mean for you? If one of the words came out in your head or in your mouth or both, the word family, what was Mary and Joseph to Jesus? And what were they? And now we understand the trigger word. And each time we get through this season, it gets harder and harder to deal with. I got Christmas decorations up since about a couple of years back, and they're getting dustier and dustier. Because I'm afraid to put them back. The stuff that you see in the back, I've been shuffling around left and right. Let me show you. Somewhere in there's a strand of lights I turn on, trying to stay in a situation where I'm not getting triggered as much. I need them. It's like leaning onto something of a faith that I need structure, stability, and hope. I need to lean on the intangibles at this point over here, even though there are physical tangibles here. The physical tangibles may be replaced one way or another, but it's what they represent to me that matters more. Johnson is like everybody else is going to be feeding upon that. They're going to have everybody else so screwed up in their heads it's not even funny. If he's going to be coming across as holier than thou, I'd watch out. Just because we have currently a Democratic slim margin on the Senate and no margin in the House, who's to say that he and his trumplicants won't put out American Sharia or Sharia law? Should we do a definition on Merriam-Webster? Since I got you here. Of course, there's a lot of it. They call it Islamic law based on the Quran. Okay, so we're going to put a Google on this one. I'm typing in America Sharia law, and actually I get hits on this one here. I have different places I haven't even seen. So the HuffPost is one thing I'm going to click onto. I'm going to need to get a subscription for this one. But what I'm going to do at this point before the damn thing kicks me out is get a PDF on it. You know you can do that these days? Seriously. If you got your PDF thing, program hooked up, that you can actually get a PDF. Oh shit! It's not going to let me do it, is it? Oh no, it's not. Well, that's just Jim Dandy and nice. Apparently, I'm having issues that certain websites won't allow a PDF file. So I'll have to go through some other site for that one. But basically, whatever the Sharia law is for Islam, we're going to be doing it and copying it in a way that we have to follow this religious doctrine here. By the way, how is your language skills in American Farsi? I'm not trying to be funny here, and I'm not trying to be Islamophobic. I'm trying to show you something here that's a little nerve-rattling here. English as the only language in the country. Christianity or Christian nationalists, the only religion for us, recognized by a government system. 10 Commandments in the Bibles put into schools, limiting the books. Shall we go on and on about this damn thing? Trying to conform and make the people comply into something. We call ourselves America, but we're not calling ourselves America. We're calling ourselves Iran, or worse, North Korea, or something worse. America Sharia. Limiting freedom except for the elitism. They're the ones that keep claiming that they're elite. More on top of. Screwing people over left and right. I'm going to type back down out the end. American Sharia law. See if I can get into another one. Pew Research. I think I could do that one. PewResearch.org. Maybe not so much. No, because what I needed, and I don't know if the HuffPost is going to be allowing me to do this thing. Because if I can do it without it trying to kick my ass out, then maybe I've got a chance of getting a PDF file on this one, because I want to keep it. I keep PDF files for research. It's a lot of flash drives, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, that's going to be a long and long video at this point over here. So I guess maybe I'm too much of a podcaster at this point. And I'll probably be doing another one when I get a chance. But I tell you that this is going to be worse than what we've seen so far. So I may do another video and send it out to you. How is your weekend, by the way?